Hello, my name is Kevin Howard, and I'm the host of Breadcrumbs, a podcast for people who know it's not working. Welcome to episode 30. This episode is titled A Breadcrumb for Humanity. You have reached the YouTube cut, where I'm going to give you a more condensed version of the full episode, and I hope you really enjoy it. But once you've watched this 15-minute cut, if you want to see the whole episode, go ahead and click the link below and join the Breadcrumbs community as a monthly subscriber. $10 a month. And for that, you get the full library episodes for Breadcrumbs. Plus, you get some free gifts currently on sale on Amazon at over $20 just for joining the community. Enjoy this YouTube cut, and I'll see you next time in the conversation. I'd like to start this week's conversation by taking a walk back to what it was like to grow up in America. How were we raised? What were we told? What were the values that defined our lives? The defining virtues were really clear. First amongst them is freedom. You can't go anywhere in this country. You can't see any symbol of America that is not steeped deeply in this notion of freedom. So freedom was first and foremost. Then there was this notion of independence, the idea that we stand on our own, the idea that we make our way. Then this was the notion of the pursuit of our own happiness. We had a fundamental right in our Constitution to the pursuit of our own happiness. And this is expressed in self-interest, the idea that it was okay and proper for each of us to make our way based on what would make us happy. And that was expressed in self-interest. And finally, the way that we obtain success is through competition. We competed against each other. We competed hard, we competed fair, we competed square, but we competed nonetheless. And so those four virtues, measuring sticks for what it is to be an American, because this is what we aspired to be, great Americans. The application was crystallized in the pursuit of the American dream. Yeah, I know, this sounds very quaint, but this is how we were raised, to pursue the American dream. And what was that? It started with being able to obtain the skills and the training in order to have a well-paying job. Gotta have a well-paying job in order to achieve the American dream. Once you have that well-paying job, now you want to be able to save and buy a home. The primary way for most of us to build wealth is by buying a home. It is the primary source of wealth building for the large majority of Americans. So first and foremost, buying a home was a key component of the American dream. Then the ability to be able to afford annual vacations. You remember how on all the great sitcoms, the Brady Bunch and all, back in the day, I know I'm dating myself. I said I was 60 now, so don't laugh at me. But the fact is, it used to be normal to take an annual vacation. And maybe you'd go to the Grand Canyon and you drive out west to Yosemite or what have you. Some great family vacation that often involved either you driving somewhere or you flying somewhere. But yeah, once a year, you work hard, you take a vacation with your family. Okay. So the annual vacation. Then the idea of being able to save for your children's college education. College is essential to be competitive in an advanced technological society. You needed that education. So to be able to save for your children's college education, so they would be in position to get the skills so they can achieve their American dream. Yeah. To be able to save for your retirement. Yes, we pay into our retirement through Social Security, but Social Security is intended to be the safety net, not the level of aspirational retirement living. In order to achieve that, you needed to save. And we were raised to save for that benefit. So you need to earn enough money to do that. And finally, in order to maintain our health, yes, we exercise, and no country in the world spends more money exercising than America. But we also need access to quality health care. And so through our well-paying jobs, we invest in quality health insurance so that when things do actually happen, we have an ability to be able to get the care we need as we need it for ourselves, for our spouses, for our families. Okay. And so that leads us, this compilation of what it was like to be raised in America over the last 40 or so years, leads us to breadcrumb number one. In America, if you worked hard and you built the skills, you were smart, and you played by the rules, the American dream was attainable. But what have we experienced over these last 30 years? This becomes the rest of the story. And we can distill that down into asking ourselves, what remains of the American dream? When I think of freedom, what freedom has become is I'm only as free as the amount of money I have in my pocket. I'm only as free as what I can afford to provide. And as I'm sure most of you have experienced, that is becoming harder and harder to obtain. So freedom feels like a shadow of the promise it used to be when we were growing up. Independence, at the heart of the American dream, is this notion that no matter where you grew up, no matter what socioeconomic class you grew up in, you could innovate and work and earn your way to financial independence so that you could retire early and reclaim your time to do with your time as you want. That was the system. The dream of financial independence is dead for the American middle class and the lower income earners in this country. There is no vehicle to do that the way it used to be. At least that's what most of us are experiencing, unlike the generations before us. Self-interest, the pursuit of our own happiness. If your career has been anything like my career, tell me if this sounds familiar. Started off gangbusters, started competing, doing well, able to navigate, able to grow that career. And then you hit a plateau, and then it became a grind. And you find yourself working harder and longer and achieving less, having less benefit. You find yourself doing everything you can not to fall behind, and yet you're falling behind a little bit more every year, no matter how much harder you work. So what has become the pursuit of our own happiness? It has expressed itself into a grind, and this grind is not producing happiness. And then finally, competition. This was the holy grail. This is how we take care of ourselves and our family. We compete. All of us have an equal opportunity to make good, to get that well-paying job, to live that American dream. Well, you look at your lived experience because I'm looking at mine. And in the competition of life, man, the first 20 years out of school, because I'm 60, so you'll graduate from college or what have you. Those first 20 years, my wins and losses was killing it. I was building it. It was happening. And then these last 20 years, have you seen the trend that things are harder and harder? You know why? Because in the competition of life, most of us, and I'm talking about 2/3 of the American population, our wins and losses are degrading rapidly. Why? Because the game has been altered to where the rules favor extreme wealth. And most of the productivity that we are grinding ourselves into the ground to produce, most of the benefit of that productivity is going to the extreme wealth. This is why wealth and income inequality in America has become as severe as it's ever been in American history. There's an economic metric called the Gini coefficient. The Gini coefficient is a complex economic metric that measures the equality of a national economy. The peak of American equality, and that is wealth and income equality, was 1968. And we have become increasingly more unequal since 1968. The most unequal year we've ever been was when we came out of COVID-19 in 2021. And as of 2024, we have almost matched that level of inequality. So since we have emerged out of COVID, we are the most unequal American economy in terms of wealth and income in American history. Yeah, that's where we are. And so in the competition, most of us are losing, and the only winners are in the top 0.001%. What extreme wealth has done has jerry rigged all the rules of the game, that heads they win, tails we lose. The totality of this experience leads us to breadcrumb number 2. For most Americans, the American dream is unattainable no matter how hard you work. That's just the truth. According to Claude.ai, Opus 4.6, the required household income to obtain the basic American dream, as we discussed earlier, is between $150,000 a year and $220,000 a year, depending on where you live in the country. As of 2024, 60% of American households earn $105,000 a year or less. So this is how far 2/3 of the country is from the American dream. Only roughly 20% of American households can afford the American dream today. And as I said earlier, roughly 25% of American households can afford to buy the median American home at current prices. And that leads us to breadcrumb number 3. When your cherished values, your cherished virtues are no longer true, nihilism becomes a reasonable response. So what's nihilism? Nihilism is a viewpoint that traditional values and beliefs are unfounded, and that existence is senseless and useless. It's all random. There is nothing true. There's no pattern. It just whatever. Okay? When your most cherished virtues are proven to be untrue, when freedom is becoming a lie, when independence is not even possible, when self-interest is defeating yourself, and where competition does not benefit you at all. Yes, it makes sense for you to say, well, if the most important things are not true, what is true? Maybe truth is not attainable. Maybe truth doesn't actually exist in this reality. And as a result, far too many of us have given up on making sense of the world. And the problem is, that is exactly what extreme wealth wants us to do. That leads us to breadcrumb number 4. The greatest lie we were ever told is that we are unable to co-create the reality in which we live. Yeah, this nihilism, this hopelessness, this degraded American lifestyle that has become all too real for too many of us has convinced us that this is just how it is and there's nothing we can do about it. But that's a lie. We are still empowered to co-create our lives. Hello, you've reached the end of the YouTube cut for episode 30. I hope you enjoyed it. Get the rest of the episode by clicking the link below and joining the Breadcrumbs Patreon community as a monthly subscriber. $10 a month, and what you get is all the full episodes on Breadcrumbs, plus you get free gifts worth more than $20. You take care, and I'll see you next time in the conversation.